وإذا قبلنا بقرارات الأمم المتحدة فلنقبل بتقسيم فلسطين، وهذا ما لا يمكن أن نقبله أو نرضى عنه. ولو أجمع العرب جميعا على أن يرضوا بوجود إسرائيل وبتقسيم فلسطين فلن ندخل معهم في هذا الاتفاق. فإذا حلت الساعة ودق جرس الحرب والنضال فستروني أنا بنفسي وإخوتي وأبنائي مصر. وإذا قبلنا
represented by Jewish people are not represented by Israel. These protesters have made that perfectly clear. Israel pushes an old anti-Semitic trope that it somehow represents Jewish people around the world. Not only is that not factual, but it's very dangerous, and everyone needs to know that Israel is a state that's responsible for its own crimes, and that responsibility does not extend to our Jewish brothers and sisters, many of whom are standing up alongside Muslim and Christian and others in demonstrations across this country and across Europe, saying that this must end. The point needs to be made again and again that criticism of Israeli human rights violations is not anti-Semitic, just as criticism of Saudi violations is not Islamophobic, criticism of Myanmar violations is not anti-Buddhist, criticism of Indian violations is not anti-Hindu. If any of those are true, then there is no international human rights framework. And if only the case of Israel is true, well, that's a racist proposition that only Palestinians can't have their human rights. Jewish people are not represented.
My base was moved from Tel Aviv to the south. This was 2002. And I was asked to send planes to fuel planes that were going into Gaza, to bomb Gaza. At that time, I didn't have the language to understand exactly what's happening. But as we returned to the base, I had my first panic attack and couldn't enter the base. And the next day, I had to come and stand trial. And I was grounded to the base for 3 weeks. And in those 3 weeks, I understand that I have to leave the army. And that, knowing in that moment, made me want to take my life because it was so against everything I was taught. And that started a process that I will be in for the rest of my life, which is the undoing of that indoctrination and that brainwashing and the way that the Israeli identity has been merged with the Zionist identity. My message is, first of all, for everyone who can, to just find their heart and to liberate themselves from this identity that we call an Israeli identity. And there is no need for any one of us to serve in the IDF. The IDF should not exist. The state of Israel should not exist. We can be free without it. We can have a true connection to our heart. Without that, my base was moved.
كلام بعد كلام وعين تنزف ماء